Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Love and Goliath, a show where we discuss the monster within. I'm Willow Smith, and I'm here with my dad and co-host, Trainer Ben Smith.
Hello, Willow. How are you?
I'm doing well, Benjamin. How are you?
Good. I feel like there's been a bit of a hiatus in the podcasting, so I'd like for us to show our maturity and our growth in that time.
Yeah, I
As
hit a
people,
major
as human
growth spurt.
beings.
Yeah, I used to be down here, like on the screen, but now I'm up here. So I've grown a lot. You've kind of gotten shorter, but
Like just personality wise and likability, I really feel like in this time that we've been off, I've really shot through the roof on that one. Whereas you, yeah, you got a little taller.
well, I mean, listen, people like tall ladies, maybe. Well, what's going on? Yeah, it has been a while. It's been a minute. We've been working on a bunch of stuff kind of on our end and getting our ducks in a row. And I think we're both very excited to be here again. I didn't think I'd remember the intro, so I'm happy that it actually came out.
I know. It's been so long. I thought senility would take over, and you'd be like, like,
Where am I?
"Where's my bananas?"
Yeah, I actually have a teleprompter just doing all of my lines right now. Just like fabricating a personality.
It's
Yeah.
so
No,
funny.
it's good. Sorry, go ahead.
It's so funny because I was like, okay, we're gonna be super professional going into this. It's gonna be awesome. And right out the gates, we just shit the bed on that.
Well, again, and we were talking about this before we started recording. Like this is us. I think that's one of the things about our podcast that has always been unique. And one of the things about our offering as a company, um, is that we're not supremely polished. We're not supremely manufactured. We're real people just trying to help other real people. And sometimes, sometimes you do need the polished, a really well written book or a study or a therapist or whatever. But sometimes you just need some goofy people to talk with and feel like you're with friends and feel safe. And I think that's something that we've always done well, is just
Mhm.
chatting.
Yeah, I like, well, we're coming out with the Everyday Guy Journal, but
Yeah.
what did the title come from? Well, where does the title come from? It represents, if anybody who's listened to the podcast knows that, I'm probably not the average guy, but on the other hand, I am just an everyday guy talking with my daughter about life issues, right? So it's kind of it's so fun to be just ourselves and just be totally authentic with these discussions that we have that range from like you remember when we started it in 2019, like we started off just like we took on everything.
Yeah.
The first
Anything and
episode
everything.
was the big three, and then it was like, overcoming challenges and suicidal overcoming suicidal thoughts and violence, dealing with violence and overcoming trauma. Like we dealt with so many things, but it was just a father and a daughter having a discussion. I'm so proud of what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, 2019 we started. It's almost 2025. And we've talked about a wide array of things with varying degrees of severity. And because we've come at it from the lens of like us two kind of chatting about life, it doesn't feel quite as heavy. It doesn't feel like today
Mm.
we're going to talk about like, here's our helpline if you really, which is important. And sometimes if you're having those thoughts, you don't necessarily want the people that you're talking to also be like, this is so, so, so bad. Sometimes you just want someone to be like, it's okay. And we will move forward together, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's kind of the basis of what we've always done. And like you said, that first episode, it started with the big three: self-assurance, ease, and faith. Why, why is that where we start? And even now we come back to that. Even now in 2025 almost, we come back to that. Why do we keep coming back to self-assurance, ease, and faith?
Yeah, well, it's so interesting because I mean, I was at a place where I'd stabilized myself for quite a long time. By the time we did that podcast, I was so grounded. But that was the key to my feeling so grounded that I could speak of all these issues, these heavy issues, these issues that we as a family had gone through, and all these things. So I was so grounded because of that that triad of emotions, which is that inner peace and self-assurance and faith that things are going to be okay. Those are grounded. But in the 5 years since, I mean, let's think about where I was. I mean, I had been a carpenter, and then COVID happened when we started doing it, and then I lost my job as a personal trainer because as soon as COVID happened, I went back to carpentry. And through it all, I've just continuously watched through a pandemic and through just all the shifting patterns that people have gone through. How if you don't have those three things, if you don't have a strong sense of self assurance, ease with the path that you take, and faith that things are going to be okay, you're going to be like a twig on the ocean. You're not going to have control. And I saw that. I just saw that. I saw so many people during the pandemic and just in the aftermath of all those things that were going on, where the easy path, like, again, I don't always like to use myself as an example, but I know my experience. Even in the podcast, we talked about that. Like, I was a personal trainer, and then one day, boom, they closed the door. My source of income was the easiest path. Just chill out, start a podcast with my daughter, and then what's the next easiest path? Oh, buddy was driving down the street, saw me, asked me if I want to do some carpentry. I said sure. So what's the next easiest path? Like, it's just follow the path of least resistance. Just be easy. Trust that opportunities are going to come, and don't try to have preconceived ideas about what that opportunity means, because it's going to mean what you let it mean. It could be just 2 weeks where you got a paycheck. It could be a new career for you. It could be an opportunity to meet somebody that leads you to somebody else that leads you to what you really want to be doing. And that's what I've always kind of meant by ease. And then having the faith that if you have that ease to let things be more than what your limited perspective is, that it will lead you to opportunities that you just couldn't even really imagine. If you're so boxed in, like, well, this is where my life is, and this is what I have to do, and I went to school for this, and I have to do this, and it's just chill out, relax.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of examples of that throughout the duration of the podcast. So if you're a new listener, we've talked about this a lot, and I think we had an episode even devoted to the way that having faith can help direct your life, not in the way of like, I'll just go wherever I'm like taken, but in the way of like, when an avenue is opened up to you, if you have the faith within yourself to understand that like you're going where you need to go and just letting things kind of come and accepting them, the evidence in your life especially is insane how major a role faith plays in life, right? If you let it. So that's cool. I like it.
And to be clear, again, like, I'm a spiritual person, but when we're talking about faith, we're not talking about religion, and we're not even really talking about spirituality, although in my opinion everything is spiritual. But we're just talking about just paying attention to life. Like, just pay attention to life.
Yeah.
Opportunities are always happening. When something bad happens, there's an opportunity. There's a nugget of information within that bad moment that's leading you to something. But you gotta have the self-assurance to say, you know what? Well, oddly enough, it led me to a job that kind of sucks at this moment, but there's got to be something in it. And then have the faith that, oh yeah, that's what, look at what's on the horizon. Look at what I could see. Look at who I've met. Look at what I've learned. And just all of life could be like that, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's, your whatever it is, your passion, your joys, your pursuits. It's all the same stuff. You just gotta find a way to just kind of just ground into the feeling of it. It's all leading you somewhere positive if you let it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a friend who every time I see her, she has her journal and I work with her, and like every break she's journaling. Like you do not see her not journaling. On the bus she's journaling, during her break, like all the time. And when I asked her about it, she said how interesting and how kind of affirming it is to be able to look back on all of these experiences throughout the day, the week, the month, the year, and see how they all kind of come together. Instead of just letting things kind of pass you by, they compound into a major experience instead of just like things kind of shooting past you on the highway. It's a destination, right? And I know
Mhm.
you're a big journaler. Like what do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely true. Like, to me, it's like I just don't think that you could really. I mean, it's one thing if your life is going like you have a great easy childhood and you have great experiences and everything is kind of working out kind of nice for you. It's like, maybe you don't have to journal. Maybe your journal is like, thanks God every day. Like,
Thumbs up, going great. Another awesome day for me.
God, you're number one. Thanks, God. Maybe that's the case, but if you're somebody who has real questions like what's going on here, or how can I make the most of this, or what have I learned, or how can I move forward? If you have real questions about life, I just don't see how you can really focus enough to make sense of it if you're not giving yourself a tool that will help you to focus, because most people it's just so hard, right? And that to me is what journaling is. It's a tool. It's a tool to help you focus in a directed way, hopefully a very positive way. And and that's why I've always been a journal, and that's why I'm so excited about the Everyday Guy journal, because it's like the whole thing is to give, I mean, the Everyday Guy journal that we're coming out with is taking all the podcast episodes that we've done, is mined it for those nuggets of information so that we can give people those ideas and those prompts and those uplifting stories or ideas so that they can be on their own way with their own discoveries through journaling. Because again, don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Figure it out for yourself. But why not use some of my experiences or somebody else's experience as the jolt to ask questions of yourself? And so that's where I'm most excited about with the interactive journal that we'll be releasing pretty soon, is that I think throughout it, with the journal prompts, with the QR codes that kind of link to the podcast episodes and the discussions, with the concepts and all the things that were put into it. I just think it's going to be such an amazing tool for people to focus in ways that they can discover for themselves the path that they've been on, the things they've learned, and how to use it to navigate the future in a way that they want it to be, right?
Mhm.
So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And just to kind of add on, I think that number one, like for me, the idea of just picking up a book and journaling is a little bit scary. Um, which I should be journaling. I've been your daughter my entire life, and the fact that I don't journal is kind of embarrassing. Um, ooh, um, but like to have a guided, like today we're going to talk about this, or why don't we think about this? Like that is a really nice ease into journaling. And then by the time you're at the end of your guided journal, maybe you want to start over, or maybe you want to do your own journal. Maybe you feel comfortable enough to ask those questions of yourself. So it's a great guiding tool to teach journaling. But also most of the guided journals out there that I've been able to see are directed toward women. Um, and I mean, obviously, Everyday Guy is the title. I don't think that this journal is specifically for men. Like I think if I picked it up, I would still find the ability to use it to journal, to track my thoughts. I wouldn't be barred out from using it, but there's not a lot of products like this out there that are for men that men can use that aren't like, flowery and like, what was your favorite makeup look? Like it's a tool that I think is needed. It's a tool that I don't see out there very much. And the ability to teach journaling, to teach that habit, I think is huge in, that's our whole thing is men's mental health. That's kind of like our shtick, right? So to have this tool is hugely valuable to the work that we do, to the work that you do. Yes.
Well, I think we have this multimedia platform behind us. I mean, we have the podcast, which so much of the journal is based on. We have the online program. We have the speaking that I do. We have all these different things that support the messaging. But the thing that I think I love the most about the journal is, again, it's condensed. I mean, let's be real, it's condensed thousands of hours of my life as a bouncer, a nightclub bouncer, dealing with violence, being around drug dealers and gangsters, and trying to navigate relationships where I was like, real big struggles and all these different things, and it's based on all those hours of like mining the nuggets of information that anybody can use to uplift themselves out of the situation. And so that's what it's composed of. That's what our whole body of work is composed of, those lessons. But the journal itself, this Everyday Guy journal, what's exciting to me is it's expansive. It's dynamic. It's growing. So I mean, we're going to come out with version 1.0 or whatever, right? But as people continue to buy it, use it, reflect on it, and add their input and share their stories, it's going to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to grow out of the questions and the answers and input of the users of it. So that to me is what's so exciting, because just like the Glove and Goliath grew literally out of us just getting together. Hey, Dad, what do you want to talk about? Hey, let's talk about this. And it turned into a true podcast like that has empowering lessons. So say the same thing with the interactive journal, where it's just like, it's my experiences that are going to expand so much to get people to question their own experiences and add their own input, so that this journal becomes its own entity that just keeps expanding with information and wisdom as more and more people buy it and use it and add to it and share their stories, right? And that to me is like, it's like, it's just so fulfilling to me. It's so exciting to me.
Yeah.
Again, like I said in the intro to the Everyday Guy journal, it's like, for me to look back at the kid I was, to have navigated all that experience and all that, that trauma and those struggles or whatever, and to come out and be like, like, wow, you look at all the people that you can impact with, who you can get to expedite the process to their own happiness and ground themselves into living a life that they really want to live. Who would have thought you'd do that? To me, it's just like, it almost brings a tear to my eye,
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and it just shows the growth that is possible. It shows that you can kind of be at the lowest personal low that you can be and come to a place of like getting to such solid, stable ground that now you can reach back and offer a hand to somebody else, right?
I think there's nothing more amazing than, like, everybody wants stuff. I want stuff. You want stuff. Everybody wants stuff. But again, I always tell people that, from my perspective, the highest level of being for a human is feeling self-actualized. And again, from my own perspective and my own experience, true self-actualization is using your life in a way that you take all the good, the bad, the ugly, and you make it into this masterpiece of an artistic expression that is you, and you present it to the world and just be like, you know what, this is my work. This is something I'm just so proud of. This is something I put everything into. That to me is a self-actualized human being, and that's where I hope everybody gets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of our purpose. Maybe not like, we don't advertise ourselves as people who help you self-actualize, and but like it's all in the interest of that. And I think the act of journaling helps you to get there. But you mentioned something. My brain kind of went off on a different track while you were talking. But you mentioned something a little bit ago about like helping people discover these traits about themselves, discover who they are, and all that. Why do you think it's so important to have a tool like this to help them get to that point? Like, why do you think it's so hard to get there on their own? Because I know it is. Like, for me, it definitely is.
I think a lot of people just don't prioritize, or they don't realize the value of it. They don't, for when I was working on construction sites and just all the things I've done, people, I'd always tell people, it's just like, get up early, chill out, relax. And so many people, they didn't put a lot of value. Like, it's like, oh, I would love to, but you know what? I need a bit of sleep, and I slept in, and I'm always rushing, and this and that, and this and that. It's like, to me, it's mind-boggling to think that, for you to not take the time to just chill out, ground into your just grounded to being it, self-acceptance and self-love, and just truly valuing yourself enough to just step back from your life, the frantic pace of your life and all the stresses and anxiety, and just like, you know what, this is for me. I'm just gonna have a cup of coffee, I'm gonna relax, see the sun come up, or do whatever. I'm just gonna ground it. You know what, the world's gonna be fine without me for a minute, and to feel that peace and to make it a habitual state of being for you, at least to some extent. There's nothing that you could do. There's nothing you could do, in my opinion, that's going to create more lasting happiness and change, positive change for you overall in your life than that. Because everything else is external. Everything else is reliant on other people, circumstances, events, this and that. The only thing that you can rely on that will always be stable is, if you practice it, your ability to find joy and peace and love no matter what's going on around you. And again, we all, if we look for it, would have seen that during COVID. So again, I think what I'm excited about again is with us going forward with the podcast is to talk a little bit more about just focusing in on some of those strategies that people can use, the tips and tools and habits to create that sense of groundedness and self-assurance, and to make it habits out of feeling good, and then support it by this tool, this easy tool that people could download onto their phone, and so it's always with them. And I need an uplifter. I need to feel uplifted, so I'm going to listen to a little bit of the podcast. Click on the phone, or I need a story, or I need a reminder, or whatever. All these things are going to be part of the journal, and it's going to, obviously, it's going to link to other support tools as well. But it'll just get. I mean, my hope and my belief is that it will get people in the habit of stepping back from the chaos, so that they can ground into, okay, what have I learned? What do I need to do in this moment to just find peace and be okay, and get myself back to that place of happiness until it becomes just so natural that anything less than happiness, like it is for me, is just unacceptable. It just feels weird. It feels so off. And it's like, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why would you settle for that? And like, how long of a time commitment is this every day, you think? Like, if people are like, oh, well, I don't have the time, or oh, I need to do this, that, like, how long every day do you think that this like journaling should be a practice and self-reflecting?
Well, I think if somebody isn't willing to put in 15 minutes a day to start, I mean, you really don't care about your own happiness, honestly. Like,
Mm,
I don't know what else to say. Like, it's kind of like 15 minutes of fitness. If you're not committed to 15 minutes of if you're not willing to commit to at least 15 minutes to your fitness every single day, then don't you probably shouldn't keep telling yourself that fitness is a priority, because it's not.
mm,
15 minutes a day is nothing. I can sit
yeah.
on the toilet for 15 minutes. Like,
Good.
honestly, I mean, I don't, I don't usually, unless I'm reading a book. But honestly, what's 15 minutes? And yet, you remember when I had Vibe? You remember what I used to do with 30-minute clients? I had 30-minute clients, stretch them out, put them through a workout, or warm them up, put them through a workout, like a resistance training workout, get their heart pumping, cool them down, stretch them out, tweak their injuries or whatever aches and pains they have, and get them out the door in 30 minutes. In
Yeah.
30 minutes. So imagine what 15 minutes of just like, okay, you know what? This is just for me. Nobody bugs me for 15 minutes. That's all I'm asking. And again, you don't have to be in a Zen place. I don't really get into a fully like meditative where I have no thoughts. I don't even really want to be in that place. But the main point is that you're just taking 15 minutes for yourself to just chill out and just like, you know what? I'm going to listen to some good music. I'm just going to have a nice cup of coffee. I'm going to look at the fireplace or the sun come up or whatever. But it's just like, you know what? Don't try to make it a big thing. Just make it 15 minutes for you, where you're not on your phone, where you're not on the computer, where you're not distracted by stuff that doesn't matter. Let yourself be distracted by just your breath, just ah, a cup of coffee, sip of coffee, look at the fire, just distract yourself with stuff that means nothing. It's not gonna, cause you to be all like, oh yeah, shit. Like,
Yeah.
just
Not
just
distracting.
notice. It's not gonna take very long for you to start feeling great. And
Yeah.
then I would say again, if you don't have time to, if you don't have a few minutes every day to start making it a regular habit, a daily habit, to just kind of like, okay, what did I learn today? What did I experience? How can I improve tomorrow? And how can I use that going forward? You're really missing out on the boat, missing the boat in terms of like your ability to navigate, your life. And so again, I don't want to be here on this podcast being overly selly about the Everyday Guy Journal, even though I do want to sell it. That's not my objective in this podcast. My objective in this podcast is to express to people, everybody who's listening to this, the importance of valuing your happiness and your joy and your sense of well-being in the world, and doing those things, those simple things that are going to allow you to experience that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, is that like, we made this tool. Yeah, obviously we would love if it was bought and if it was used and we could continue to make different iterations based on feedback and what people feel like they need. And our work, I think, stays the same. I don't know what your kind of plans for the new year are moving into 2025, but I mean, we're almost middle of December, and we remain as we have been since 2019 in some ways, and that our purpose is to help people find happiness, overcome, whatever is kind of weighing them down. And yeah, I mean, what's your plan for 2025?
The plans for 2025 are, well, hopefully I get to see my daughter and harass her like crazy. Like this is gonna be the year where I literally drive her mental. Like just whatever it takes for me, get my dad away from me. He won't leave me alone. He won't stop harassing me. He keeps calling me a bum. You're a bum. You're a bum. So
Constantly, yes.
that's a big part of it. But beyond that, when I'm not harassing my daughter, um, I my focus for 2025 really is, again, with the podcast and everything that we've been doing, it's been very, very casual, but I haven't really been super big on social media, or super big on expanding beyond my reach. But I just feel like it's such an important time in the world right now. It's such an important message for young men and men in midlife who are trying to find their purpose and their passion, and try to kind of feel at peace with themselves, and just find meaning in their life. I feel like these things are so important. So my goal, my objective for 2025, my resolution for 2025 is to really, really try to impart these lessons and help, guys, everyday guys like me, young and old, to really ground into that place where they're super, super self-assured and they're at ease, so that they can be their best, their very best, for their families, for their friends, for their mates, and for the community, for the world, because we all benefit. Every one of us benefits by men feeling grounded and at peace, and feeling like they've, just having faith in themselves and the world and being okay.
I think that's a very good resolution for the new year. I didn't prepare an answer that was going to be anywhere near as insightful as that. I was just going to say, like, I don't know, I'm going to bum around and probably do a couple more episodes of the podcast. And I mean, we have been a lot more active on social media, which is great. If you're looking for us, we're Everyday Guy almost everywhere now. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we're Everyday Guy everywhere. Um, and you can interact with us there. If you have questions, you can ask them there. You can look for some fun little videos and tips and tricks and posts and whatever. Like, we're doing everything right now. And you're going to be seeing us, you know, getting the journal out there. We've got some merch coming that I'm super excited about. Some different programs on the move. So yeah, just like keep your eyes open. If you're not subscribed to us, we'll have links down below to all of our social media, so you can just keep an eye on what's going on, what we're doing. And yeah, I mean, stay tuned for updates, because there's a lot going on in the Goliath world this year, in my dad's world and my world. And yeah, our work has not stopped. It's just took a bit of a pause to get all of our ducks in a row for 2025. And I think we're both ready to hit the ground running and really make a difference. And if we are able to help one person turn their life from drudgery to joy, I think we would be happy. So that's where we're at right now, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I just want to go back to when you asked me my my goals for 2025. I did say all that stuff, but I prefaced it all by saying that I just want to drive you crazy. I just want to drive you crazy. So it'd be my intention that everybody take a look at Willow. Look how beautiful she looks. She looks so youthful and vibrant and everything. And let's just track what happens as I get into it. Just like, you're a bomb, Rock. You're a bomb. You're a bomb.
As you slowly wear down my it's like those witches that like suck the life essence from people to stay young forever. You just like
Yeah.
harass me so that I mean, you don't age. You haven't aged since in 2000s. So, I
It's
mean,
because I look like crap back then.
you've looked like a 50-year-old man since you were 10. You're like, Papa, I'm hungry.
Yeah, well, like I said, if people go through the podcast, they'll hear some stories about stuff like that. It's like,
There you go. Well, yeah. And if you're a first time listener, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. We've got like 85 other episodes. So,
So far.
So yeah, please check them out. Let us know what you think. You can email us at lovinggoliath@gmail.com. Like I said, you can reach out to us on all of our social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I mean, we're everywhere. You can't get rid of us. You're stuck with us. And yeah, thank you all for joining us as always. Again, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be saying all of these lines again. Yay, welcome back.
Yay.
And yeah, you'll hear from us again very soon. Keep an eye out for what's going on, and we'll catch you next time.
Next time.
Yeah,
Peace
bye.
out.
Peace.